Get a head start on spring cleaning with Caraway kitchenware. Their thoughtfully designed sets and complimentary storage makes getting and staying organized easier than ever. Caraway's high-quality ceramic-coated kitchenware are made without any toxic materials like PFAs, PTFE, PFOA, or other hard-to-pronounce chemicals. Visit carawayhome.com/respectable to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners. So visit carawayhome.com/respectable or use code respectable at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. Gabrielle Union strived for the perfection her father always demanded. But as a dark-skinned Black girl, she never felt like she was enough. Even the Rich is a podcast from Wondery that tells the jaw-dropping stories about the tumultuous lives of the world's elite, from the greatest family dynasties to pop culture superstars. Their newest season is all about the teen movie icon, Gabrielle Union. Follow Even the Rich wherever you get your podcast. You can listen ad-free on Amazon Music or Wondery app. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable from London. I have arrived safely in London. I told y'all last episode that was our last one in Johannesburg and the continent of Africa for a while. But I am in London town. I arrived yesterday. I had an 11-hour flight from Johannesburg. I got here at like 5 in the goddamn morning. I got to my place. I've got this duplex loft in the city. And not that my place in Johannesburg wasn't city, because Johannesburg is a city. But I was staying in Sandton, Morningside specifically. But I was staying in this really cute building, but it's very suburban. And also in Johannesburg, everyone warned me, like, you can't walk outside. You can't walk outside. You can't walk outside, even though I was in the burbs. But I'm officially bona fide, like, in the city. I walk everywhere when I'm not, taking the tube. But I got in yesterday at 5 a.m. and I hit the streets. I have a list of things that I do as setup when I get to a new place, like the first 48 hours, like exchange money or grocery shopping or buy random knickknacks that I need for the house to make it feel like a home, since I usually stay in most places for like around 90 days. But yesterday was a bank holiday because of the coronation, and I just didn't feel like it. So I did a couple things around the house, and then I went for a walk. I went down to the Thames River and I went looking for the landmarks. I saw the Tower Bridge. I saw the Millennium Bridge. I saw the London Eye. I saw Parliament, Big Ben, same difference. Westminster Abbey, which is right next to Parliament. And I just took a bunch of pictures. I didn't even carry my good camera. I just had my iPhone. But I walked for 7.5 miles is what my app said. I felt it. I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I told you I have a duplex. So my bedroom is on the top floor and my bathroom is on the main floor. And 5 o'clock in the morning, which the sun was coming up. And I was like, this is ridiculous. But I had to walk downstairs and my whole body hurt. And I was like, oh, there are days when I'm just like, oh, 40's not old. People talking about it's middle age. What are you talking about? 40's young. And then my body hurts trying to go down some steps. In fairness, I walked 7.5 miles, but still, I was like, there was a time I could walk 7.5 miles, go to an amusement park, something like that. Easy, do 7.5 miles and then get up the next day and do it again and be fine. I don't think so. I think today I'm not going to walk 7.5 miles. I think I'll be taking the tube or a Bolt or Ubers or something. But I will not be walking that many miles. But I had a really good day. I went to Wagamama's for lunch when I was a kid studying abroad. I was over here broke by my standards. If I had a little money left over from my allowance, I would treat myself to Wagamama's. And it was a really big deal to spend 20 pounds on a meal. That could have been almost groceries for the week back then. But I went to Wagamama's yesterday and I was so excited. And I was like, oh, I feel like I'm reliving my youth. And I got the food. It was nasty. It's like the McDonald's of Japanese food, which to broke taste buds, I guess you're just happy to not eating ramen. But I was like, now I've been off in the world and had some good, delicious meals. And I was like, yeah, I had to smother in chili paste to make it edible. And I was like, all right, we've got Wagamama's out the way. I don't need to go there again. There's much better restaurants in London. But I'm really happy to be here. London's one of my favorite cities. And I've been planning this excursion since March. I think that's when I booked everything. I think even before they announced the Royal Coronation, because I couldn't have booked a better day to arrive in London, even at 5 a.m. I got a car because I had like all my bags with me and there was no traffic. Like it was nobody outside. And my driver was like, usually I would decline these trips because they're pure hell. From Heathrow to like Zone 1 London, it takes a pure hour to get from Heathrow into central London. But in rush hour, it takes 2.5. And I was like, no. So I don't know how I'm going to fly out to all these different places. I guess I won't have 4 bags with me, but still, an hour from the airport. I'm used to Ghana life, which is the airport's like 15 minutes away, or even Johannesburg. It's like 20-25. An hour? It's London. I'll figure it out. But I really like being in the city again. So much of London reminds me of New York and then also DC. The neighborhood that I'm staying in kind of reminds me of Navy Yard a little bit. Like it used to be kind of seedy. When I was growing up, Navy Yard is where you went for the raves. And like there was a couple like really good but really hood clubs. And now it's just entirely different. It's all these like beautiful high rises and really cute waterfront restaurants. They got a Whole Foods. If I ever move back to DC, which that's probably where I'm going to end up when I'm done with bouncing around Earth. But I'll probably end up in Navy Yard. Yeah, but I'm happy to be here. London's dope. And I was like really giddy and also like kind of like WTF watching the coronation. Did you watch it? I hit my mom when it first started because I was really excited. I had a lash appointment really early on Saturday intentionally so I could get home and watch the coronation. Like it was decent hours for me. And I hit my mom and I was like, are you up? Are you watching the coronation? No response because she was asleep because it was like 5 or 6 a.m. So she was, unavailable. I realized the reason that I was excited about the coronation is because I watched the coronation, quote and unquote, on The Crown. I guess it was like season 1, season 2. When did the coronation happen? I know her father died and they took forever for the coronation because she was so young. I guess it was season 1. And then Prince Philip needed something to do. So she put him over the coronation and he was like, we should televise it, which actually a good call. That's part of the reason I was so excited about the coronation is because I'd seen it on TV already. I felt like the TV version was better, except for Harry. It was dry. I enjoyed the pomp and circumstance of it all. Seeing Westminster Abbey and like seeing the dignitaries come in. I think I watched it on the wrong channel though. For whatever reason, I just decided like I really wanted to watch Michael Strahan. I really wanted to like have an American experience watching the coronation. But maybe I should have gone with like another channel, CNN, or maybe I should have just gone straight British and gone to BBC. Because Michael Strahan is just, I love Michael. That wasn't his best live from anywhere moment. I think he might have been nervous. It was Michael Strahan and Deborah Roberts. She was good. Their guests were fine. And it was just America's take. And it's kind of what I wanted, but then I also wanted a little bit of reverence. But America's take on the coronation, because, we're not really into the Brits like that. If they do something extra scandalous, like we pay attention, but like the day-to-day lives, we watch The Crown. We're into The Crown, but the actual royal family, not so much. But the correspondence on ABC, like, mind you, we're at the coronation. We're for Charles and also his wife, Camilla. We're still, I think, as an overall American culture, pro Diana. Like, she didn't die decades ago. And also, like, Charles and Camilla, they said, I think they've been married 17 years. I was like, really? They were talking about like the rehab of Camilla's image. And I was like, specifically say in the UK, because I don't think that applies here. Like during the coronation, which is for Charles and his wife Camilla to officially and publicly be presented as king and queen. They put a literal crown on her head. As the whole ceremony is going on, there is this long segment on ABC about like, Camilla's come a long way because, she and Charles had an interesting beginning. And, during the 90s, she was pretty much reviled. And to now see her become queen of a nation, I was like, y'all gonna call this woman a mistress while she getting crowned? Yes. So like that part was like very American. We don't have like proper reverence and such. And that's a personal opinion on whether we should or shouldn't. I can go either way with that. But right before the coronation began, the dignitaries and such are filing into the church. We didn't know who anybody was. Those are members of parliament. Those are previous prime ministers. that appears to be a king of, whose flag is that? ABC didn't recognize anybody. Like, so many world leaders, except for Biden. They sent Dr. Jill. Wife Biden went, husband Biden stayed home. What did you have better to do? Are you under the weather? What did you have better to do than go to the king's coronation? It's not happening again in your lifetime, bruh. That's wrong, but it's true. Actually, Charles is a good 75. I'm like, y'all just paid 125 million British pounds. You got to add 25% to turn it into USD. It's 12, 12, 24, 6, 30, 155 million USD, roughly. The British taxpayers just paid that for a coronation of a 75-year-old man. Y'all think he's going to live to be the same age as his mama? So it's like, I don't know, quote unquote, worth it to spend all this money? I think they're going to fuck around and do another coronation in about 10 years. Average life expectancy is what, 83, 84? For white men. I'm looking this up. Average life expectancy, white man, UK. 80 years. Shit. 80.9. So let's give him 81. Y'all gonna fuck around and have to pay another 125 million pounds in 6 years? 125 million British pounds? He better last more than 5 or 6 years. I know that much. Long live the king, for real, on behalf of taxpayers and for budgetary reasons. I was excited to see Harry. I'm actually glad Meghan didn't come because all the attention would have been about everything Meghan did. If the woman yawned or blinked or sneezed or anything, what she wore, everything would have been scrutinized. I read that she stayed home because it was Archie's birthday. That's the most convenient excuse ever. Archie's turning 4. What's the youngest prince? Because William has 3 kids. There's the heir to the throne, the boy, and then there's Charlotte, and then there's a little boy who's like 5, cute as he can be. But he's 5. He was at the ceremony for some of it. They took him out for a little bit. That's a lot for a 5-year-old to sit through. But he was there. Archie could have come in to see his grandfather, actually crowned as king. I mean, it is his grandfather. They were like, oh, it's Archie's birthday. We can't leave the U.S. Ma'am. I guess that's the joy of having kids. We're like, oh, the kid can't, so we can't. Sorry. Archie absolutely, totally could have been there. The youngest baby, not so much, because she's a baby. He could have come and sat through some of the ceremony to see his grandfather become king. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying. Sakara's flexible signature nutrition program makes it easy to plan nourishing, feel-good meals around your busy spring schedule. Dinner plans this week? You can sign up for breakfast and lunches. Tired of the same takeout? Choose dinners. And you can customize even more when you subscribe. The options are endless and catered to your taste and time. Sakara brings expertly designed organic nutrition programs and wellness essentials right to your door. Their science-backed, ready-to-eat meals deliver results you can see and feel, from weight management and eased bloat to boosted energy and clearer skin. And what I love most, the food is also delicious. And right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when they go to sakara.com/ratchet or enter code RATCHET at checkout. That's Sakara, SAKARA.com/ratchet to get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/ratchet. Good money habits start with your very first paycheck. And if you just scored your first job, you've got an opportunity to jumpstart a healthy financial journey. When you sign up for Chime and link a qualifying direct deposit, you get access to benefits like getting paid up to 2 days early and fee-free overdraft up to $200. And with Chime, there are no monthly fees, no minimum balance, and no deposit required to become a member. I love how easy Chime makes it to access your money, even early. So sign up for Chime checking account today to link your paycheck. It only takes 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/ratchet. That's chime.com/ratchet. Chime is a financial technology company, not a bank. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank North America or Stride Bank North America. Members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on payer. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. See chime.com/spotme. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Have you ever calculated how much time you spend on yourself in a given week versus how much time you spend on other people? It's super easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. I know so many people can relate to that. But when we spend all of our time giving, it can leave us feeling stretched thin and burnt out. Therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. If you are a listener to this podcast, you know I am a huge advocate of therapy. I think everyone needs a little, especially the people that think they don't. You, my friend, need therapy the most. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/ratchet today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ratchet. Gabrielle Union strived for the perfection her father always demanded. But as a dark-skinned Black girl, she never felt like she was enough. Even the Rich is a podcast from Wondery that tells the jaw-dropping stories about the tumultuous lives of the world's elite, from the greatest family dynasties to pop culture superstars. Their newest season is all about the teen movie icon, Gabrielle Union. After spending her childhood trying to assimilate and breaking into a historically racist industry, Gabrielle thought her success meant someone else had to fail. But when she's faced with hard choices beyond her control, she realizes that the only way to find real success is to come together and build community. Host Brooke and Arisha will take you through her life, how she shook off her need for perfection, found her true self, and created the life she always wanted. I am a big Gabrielle Union fan, as big a fan of her as I am of Even the Rich. I cannot wait to listen to this new season. Follow Even the Rich wherever you get your podcast. You can listen ad-free on Amazon Music or Wondery app. Get a head start on spring cleaning with Caraway Kitchenware. Their thoughtfully designed sets and complimentary storage makes getting and staying organized easier than ever. Caraway's high-quality ceramic-coated kitchenware are made without any toxic materials like PFAs, PTFE, PFOA, or other hard-to-pronounce chemicals. And their internet-famous cookware comes in a variety of chic shades, so you can do like me and get your kitchenware to match your kitchen decor. I love that. Over 40,000 people have raved about their Caraway kitchen, including me. Now it's time to try it for yourself. Visit carawayhome.com/respectable to take advantage of this limited time offer for 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners. So visit carawayhome.com/respectable or use code respectable at checkout. Caraway, non-toxic cookware made modern. But it's probably best that Megan wasn't there. And I went to the grocery store yesterday. They have like this aisle with all like the tabloids everywhere. She wasn't here. The woman didn't step foot in the UK. To my knowledge, has said nothing negative about the coronation. She's on the cover of all the tabloid magazines as if she had come here and like, I don't know, got up and spit on the king as he was being crowned. It's a no-win. I've been here one day and I completely understand why Megan was like, fuck you all, I'm out. You know what? The burden of Blackness, because I'm sitting here watching the coronation. There's all this pomp and circumstance, and the producers are feeding the hosts, Strahan and Deborah Roberts, fun facts about the coronation. So they're talking about this carriage that was constructed in like, I don't know, 16 something, 17 something, 18 something. And these robes that are hundreds of years old and these gold scepters, this crown, and it weighs 4.5 pounds. And it has these diamonds in it. And then Camilla, Princess Kate, were going to wear crowns or tiaras, but they went with something else because of the controversy with the diamonds. And then I'm looking at Westminster Abbey and like, you know, how elaborate and grand it is. And I'm looking at overall like this whole display that they just have like 125 million pounds to burn. And I was like, how much of this is from the slave trade? How much of this did y'all rob from African countries? Like this 4.5-pound crown, which African countries did you steal them diamonds and rubies and emeralds from? Because that shit's not native to you. Whose shit did you literally go dig up in to get that? And did you compensate them people properly? No. It's such a burden of blackness. I was thinking about it on the ride from the airport yesterday too, because like London's just so ornate. Like it has all these like really big buildings and all this, you know, amazing architecture. Like you could see the money, the old money, just driving around, walking around the city. But it's like, where y'all get all this money from? You know where they got it from. Colonization between Africa and India mostly. Should have got some more seasonings from India, but that's a whole nother story. Oh, London. Happy to be here. But also, you know, my burden of blackness. It's not woke. It's educated. It's informed. Just recognizing where all this historical money came from. They spending it well. They made it beautiful. But still, I go visit countries and I see like the current cost. I hate to be deep about this shit sometimes. Sometimes I just want to talk about things and just be giddy about them and not like talk about the underbelly, but I can't help it. I spent the last 9 months gallivanting around Africa, and you look at London, and I will look at the rest of Europe as I go gallivanting around it, but they have these ornate buildings and reliable energy and such vast wealth. And you compare it to, like, there's no reason Ghana with all that gold, just the gold, should be a third world country, or Nigeria with all the oil, or South Africa with all the gold and diamonds, or just the other natural resources that so many of those countries have. They should look like Wakanda. And they don't. South Africa, kind of. But black people don't own most of that. And for all their great infrastructure, they still can't keep the lights on, literally. Oh gosh, this is becoming such a heavy episode. This is not my intention. I'm actually in really good spirits. We're gonna talk about something else, something lighter. I don't know if this is gonna count. I watched Till on the plane. I also watched Wakanda Forever, which I've seen that movie at least 4 times before this, and sat on the plane and cried like I just heard the news that Chadwick Boseman passed away. I guess this movie, for me, is just going to be like the equivalent of Memphis on This Is Us, when William goes to see the king. I guess that's just what Wakanda Forever is going to be for me. Because I cried at the funeral. I cried at the opening credits when they showed Chadwick Boseman. I cried at the end when the baby showed up. I cried at the closing credits. I mean, I sat there and had to like stifle my crying because I'm on a plane and other people can see and also hear me. I flew Virgin Atlantic. That's an interesting business class setup. They got everybody facing each other. There's a place where you can put your feet, but the actual function of that seat, because that's what it is that so people can get up and walk around and talk to each other. And if the captain puts the seatbelt sign on, you don't have to go back to your seat. You could just buckle yourself in at like the footstool seat and keep your conversation going. Like it's encouraged to be social. Like this is the first time I've flown business class on Virgin, but there's an actual bar so that when the seatbelt sign is off, you can go up to the bar and just sort of sit down and be social with your fellow passengers. I sat next to the most sociable man ever. By the time we landed in London, and half of it we were asleep, he knew everyone on our side of the plane. Like as soon as he got on, he had this really cute Gucci bag. It was so cute. I had to comment on it. It was a Gucci duffel. And I was like, which season is that bag? That's beautiful. And he was like, oh, my love, you're 4 seasons too late. And so we ended up in this conversation, not even about the bag, but about how everyone thinks he's gay, but he's not. And he was like, look, I'm not even a finer things in life type person. He was like, you see how I'm dressed? I don't make a big show about things. But he was like, my luggage, I'm very particular about my luggage. And he was like, and I'm not gay. I just like good luggage. Wonderful gentleman, very charming, lovely man. He told me he wasn't gay at least 3 times in the like first 5 minutes that we were speaking. And then he kept mentioning my girlfriend, my girlfriend, my girlfriend. And I'm like, oh, he's gay. It didn't cross my mind he was gay because he had good luggage. I just thought the man had good luggage. Him constantly mentioning his girlfriend and telling me that he wasn't gay. I don't care one way or another. I just, he don't protest too much. And then after Wakanda Forever, I took a nap for like 6-7 hours because it was an 11-hour flight. And then for whatever reason, of all the movies to choose, and it was like 100 of them, I decide, you know what? I never saw Till. And I remember people saying it should have been nominated for an Oscar. And the woman, what is her name? The actress, Danielle Deadwyler. I know her as, actually, I know her two different ways. I know her as, remember that there was a Western on Netflix, Jonathan Majors, produced by Jay-Z, The Harder They Fall? No, my favorite line for the movie is, I'm sweet. I'm sweet. The guy who's like a really good shot, he's like, I'm sweet. He and, I don't know if it's his brother or his friend, but they're sitting there like preparing to kill somebody and he's arguing that he's sweet. And I'm like, sir. But she's in that movie and almost unrecognizable. This is the first time I'd seen her. She's playing the character. It's a woman who's masculine presenting. And she puts on a dress at some point in the film and just looks all manner of awkward. She mostly engages in the film with Idris Elba. That's also the mother from Till, who's also, which before Till, I knew her as the sister in From Scratch. The hilarious sister with the great one-liners, that's also her. She's an amazing actress. She has amazing range. Like those three characters couldn't be more different. So I know her from Scratch and The Harder They Fall. And then I remember hearing that she would play the mother in Till. And I was like, I can't even see that because she's so comedic. And this is such a heavy drama. Like you're literally talking about the life of Emmett Till's mother. That's a hard life. Your teenage son was brutally murdered. That's heavy. So I've decided to put on Till. It's amazingly well done. It came out in October, so I don't feel bad speaking about it now. And it's also based on a true story, so it's not like you don't know how Till ends. There was lots of talk, I remember, around the Oscars, which I just mentioned, that Danielle Deadwyler, or Till as a whole, as a film, should have been nominated for an Oscar, and it wasn't. And I hadn't seen the movie, so I didn't weigh in on that one. I talked a lot about The Woman King because I'd actually seen that. But Till I had no reference point for. And I swore I was never going to watch that film just because how heavy it is. It's an amazing film, and she absolutely should have been nominated. And I totally get why, because sometimes people don't get nominated for things and they are very diplomatic about it and they just want to like keep the peace, especially new actors and actresses. Like Hollywood is a game of likability and relationships and access, and you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot very early by really being honest or speaking out about certain things that people may hold against you, even if you have a right to say it, even if it's the God's honest truth. People don't want to be criticized and they take it personally and they can blackball you. It happens, I think, to some degree in every industry, but Hollywood can be very, very petty and blatant about it. But she was very outspoken about being snubbed by the Oscars. She spoke to a podcast a couple months ago in February about the snubbing. I'm reading this recount of that interview on People. She said there were people who, quote, perhaps chose not to see the film. That's one theory. And then another, she said, we're talking about misogynoir. And that's specifically misogyny against Black women. And she says, quote, it comes in all kinds of ways, whether it's direct or indirect. It impacts who we are. I think there could definitely be some truth in that, because after I watched that film, I don't understand how she didn't get nominated. And not just in the parts where she loses it when she finds out that her child has been murdered, or the first time she sees her child's body after it's been tortured and brutalized. There's a moment where she goes from Chicago down to Mississippi to testify in her son's trial. His body was so badly beaten, brutalized, bloated, because they threw him in the river, that it was almost unrecognizable. He was recognized by a ring he was wearing, not by his face or even his teeth, because they'd either been pulled out or knocked out. But she testifies in the trial to identify her son's body. And even that's like a great moment of acting. You know, like sometimes you're watching a movie and you'll be like, oh, that's the Oscar right there. That's the Oscar right there. Like, you know, when the person has a breakdown and just loses it, you're like, they've gone there. Like, that is the Oscar moment. There's several of them in this film. Breakdowns, like I said, but also moments of dignity that are also Oscar worthy. Like, it's a really, really good film. Two of the other things that I really like about it, one is that it doesn't show Emmett Till's murder. I think in the hands of a different filmmaker, they would have been unable to resist showing the horror of it. They do shy away from that in this film, which thankful, because I don't need to see that. And I don't think anybody else needs to either. Reading about it is bad enough. If you really desperately want to see that depicted, there was an episode of Lovecraft Country where a white woman is trying to empathize with the Black condition. And she's, for lack of a better description, immortal. But she subjects herself to what happened to Emmett Till. So you can go watch it happen to a white person, a white body. If you really want to see that level of brutality over on Lovecraft Country, you don't need to see it happen to a little Black boy. But I appreciate the restraint and not showing that. And also, I think because it's not shown, it leaves your mind to, fortunate for the film, but unfortunate for your mind, but to wonder, even if you know the details, even if you read them somewhere, exactly what happened, what was done to him, to put him, his body, in the condition that is shown in the film. Also, the casting of the actor that plays Emmett Till. If you're an All-American fan, it's Spencer's little brother. And All-American is a hugely popular show. Like, it's got 1 million spinoffs. It's been on for, 4 or 5 seasons. But casting Spencer's little brother as Emmett Till, he's a familiar face. And if you know All-American, his character is Dylan on All-American. But he's likable. He's a fun, likable kid. He's a boy. He's neither good nor bad. He leans mostly towards good. But he's, sometimes smart in the mouth and sometimes talks back and doesn't always do the things that he's told to do. But he's also thoughtful and kind and is protective of his mother and his big brother. He wants to do the right thing. He wants to, I think last time I was watching the show, which admittedly I haven't watched in a while, but he was into art and he wanted to do comic books. Like, he's a kid. And so to take that actor that we're familiar with and who's very likable in that role and cast him as Emmett Till, where he's so a kid, an older kid, 14, and starting to feel himself, feeling a bit mannish, but also a kid. But he's a really strong actor. He does a really good job as Emmett Till. And I guess I said 2 things, but I think the third one is pretty important. The film focuses a lot on Emmett Till's mother, and who I think, at least to me, I don't hear much about. I know the details of what happened to Emmett Till. My dad feels a very personal connection to Emmett Till, so he talks about him a lot. They were born in the same year. So if he had not been murdered, then he would be my dad's age. Partially, I say that to point out that Emmett Till isn't ancient history. If he had been uninterrupted, unmurdered, unlied on, he would very easily still be alive today. But I think we talk about Emmett Till, but we don't really talk about him as a person. He's just become Emmett Till, 14-year-old boy who was murdered by this white woman who lied. And here's this one sepia colored picture of him in a hat, and he's got light colored eyes and a round face and a white shirt and a tie. And then the picture of him in the casket where his body is deformed. But we don't really think very often of him as a person. And we think even less so about his mother as a person. There was a person, his mom, who sent him down to Mississippi to be with his cousins, who cared about him, who loved him, who, after he was murdered, had to make a series of decisions in order to make people know about her son, make people care about her son, find out what happened to her son. And then even after she found out, oh, he's dead, and they put him in this box and they're going to bury him in Mississippi. No, they're not. She had to coordinate a series of events in order to bring Emmett Till's case, because it's not like he was the only one. There's tons of Emmett Tills. That's just the story with the right person who had the right connections in order to turn it into a national news story. There's tons of George Floyd. It just so happened that George Floyd, there were enough people standing around recording what happened to him. George Floyd is not the first person that a cop kneeled on their neck. As a matter of fact, didn't somebody else come out after George Floyd and say, yeah, the same cop kneeled on my neck 6 months, 9 months, a year before this? That person thankfully wasn't killed, but no one was recording that incident, so it didn't go anywhere. Nothing was done about it because obviously the cop still had his job and was still kneeling on people's necks. But I didn't know much about his mother. I never thought much in any kind of detail about what she had endured and the tough decisions that she had to make about her son. It didn't just so happen that his murder becomes an international news story. I didn't realize that getting his body back was an issue. I never really thought about the decision to have an open funeral, much less have an open casket, or how the pictures of his body ended up in Jet magazine. In theory, I understand that someone had to make those decisions, but I never really thought that much about it. His mom was in a relationship at the time. Emmett Till's father had been killed overseas. He was in the service. I never thought about like the strain that your child being murdered puts on a relationship. It's just not things I ever thought about. So I thought the movie was really smart and well done in the way that it approached the humanity of the stories of Emmett Till and his mother. I never thought about the family members, because like these white guys show up at the house with guns and they steal Emmett Till from the house and he's never seen again. I never thought about that family and what that must feel like. Somebody just came to your house and snatched your nephew, and the next time you see him, his body looks like that. The PTSD of that all, the guilt of that all, like that's a lot. Things that I just never really thought about too deep. I hear about Emmett Till and I think about the brutality of what happened to him. I never thought about what his hobbies were, what his interests are, who he be with. I never thought about any of that. But the film made me think in that way. And Danielle Deadwyler acted her ass off. She deserved at least a nomination. I did see that she got a nomination, I think, for the BAFTA Awards and SAG Awards. I don't know if she won either one of those, though. Let me check that. She did win a BAFTA, Best Actress, British Academy of Film and Television Arts. But she's not British. She's American, from Atlanta, Spelman grad, master's from Columbia. Talk about a lot of TV and a lot of film. I don't always flatly say, like, go watch this. I think this is a go watch this. I think folks in general think I have, like, good taste in TV and film. There's only been one that I've talked about, which people were like, don't recommend me nothing else because I can't believe you had me watching this mess. You know which film that is, right? I love that film. I went and bought like a poster and everything. I love that film. Queen and Slim. I recommended that. People went and saw it and was like, Demetria, don't you recommend nothing else to me? I was like, it's not that bad. They were like, it's terrible. I can't believe it. I was like, really? I like it. I've watched it 3 times since then. I still like it. I mean, I kind of do understand, like, you know, why people don't like it, but I like it. I think it's beautifully shot. I do recognize that there's some holes in the story and like some repetition. I acknowledge that, but I still like the film. It's not a perfect film, but I like it. Oh, I guess while we're talking about TV, we need to talk about Queen Charlotte. My mother actually watched it. She binged it the other day and she's like, I loved it. I felt the same way. Really enjoyed it. It was more the spirit of the first Bridgerton to me. We also got to see Daphne's biracial babies in this episode. Real cute kids. The second Bridgerton didn't really do it for me. This one, I mean, technically it's not Bridgerton 3, but that's what everybody's going to think of it as. But it's a Bridgerton spinoff, prequel, if you will, about Queen Charlotte and her being married to the Mad King, who everybody swears up and down isn't mad. I was like, did y'all see him? I thought it was really well done. The budget was amazing. The hair budget, the clothing budget. I liked Queen Charlotte. I liked her younger version. I liked her brother. I liked young lady Danbury. The actress is beautiful. God, she's beautiful. Not that Queen Charlotte isn't. She's a very beautiful girl. Not the story I was expecting from Lady Danbury. It also explains so much, but loved it. The only thing I didn't like is certain storylines felt very rushed to me. Am I giving away anything? Because I technically didn't say spoiler alert before I started this. I'm about to right now talk about details of the show. I don't think they're spoilers, but if you're really invested in Bridgerton and not wanting to know anything about it, then like fast forward for like 4 minutes. There were several storylines that felt rushed to me or didn't go anywhere. One of them is the Queen ranting about how there are not enough heirs to the throne. So she has, I want to say 13 children. Out of all those children, only one of them had a child, which gives the Queen a grandchild. And then that child passes away. There are no 3rd generation heirs from the Queen. So she's all up in arms about this. And then it just kind of like goes nowhere. Like eventually like someone pops up and says, okay, we're pregnant and blah, blah, blah. And the Queen is happy. But it's sort of like almost like an abandoned storyline. It comes up every once in a while. It's like, oh, we forgot about that. Let's mention it real quick. And then they forget about it again. It's like, oh, we forgot about that. Let's mention it real quick. Like, it's just such a big deal is made about how important this thing is. And like, we never really see like the children fretting about it or really trying to date or trying to match. The queen just calls in some women around Europe and tells her sons, like, okay, you're getting married. Like, let's get it. And then there's this thing with Daphne's mother. What is her name? Is it Violet? She has this moment where she says she hasn't had sex since her husband dies and her garden needs to be watered. Basically, she's in heat. Like, she needs some penis. And then the story never goes anywhere. Did she meet someone? Did she get some penis? Just like, what's going on? We get this backstory about how Lady Danbury, after her husband died, she meets this man and then like they get it popping. She actually says that something was going on with the queen's brother at one point. And so she was like, oh, I lived my life. I had my secrets and, whatever. And we get like a glimpse of what's going on between her and the queen's brother, but it's not really fleshed out. And I was like, no. That's a full story. Like, give me some full story. I want to see young Lady Danbury and the queen's brother get it popping. We doing too much talking and not enough showing. Like, show me the relations. And I thought they were really great storylines. I just would have loved to see them developed a little more. I had this theory. I was talking to my friend Alicia Renee, and I had this theory that their episode count may have been cut. And so they kept a lot of the main story and they had to cut back on the B and C story to make sure the A story was like shaped up well, which makes sense. Story. And it's not like the two things I just mentioned didn't get resolution. It was just flimsy. Shonda and them usually tell a story with a lot of sub-story going on, but it always ties up in like a nice big bow at the end. And it just didn't for me this time. I still enjoyed what I watched very much, but I think just maybe as a storyteller, I was like, I think their episodes got cut. Here's what throws off my theory. It's only 6 episodes, right? Episode 4, 90% of that episode is flashbacks of everything that's happened in episode 1 through 3, but from the king's perspective. Like, his perspective is necessary. I think it's important to know that he wasn't just being an asshole to his new queen, our beloved heroine, Queen Charlotte. It's that he had his own issues going on and he was trying to hide them from her. So he wasn't just, being a meanie. He had shit going on. Important. But did we need to waste a whole episode on that? Because I would rather have seen Daphne's mama meet a man and get it popping or I would have rather seen Lady Danbury and Queen Charlotte's brother. It's just, that's what I would have been into. But overall, I thought it was really good. If they did another spinoff of Queen Charlotte, I would like to see it. Because I'm going to go ahead and guess that George goes in and out of his fits. He couldn't have been mad all the time because they ended up with 15 kids. One of my friends was like, this sex is whack. She was like, where is season 1 Bridgerton sex? She's like, they not giving me the scenes I want. They not giving me anything that makes me uncomfortable to watch with my mama in the room. She's like, I'm expecting more. She's like, ever since season 1 Bridgerton, they haven't really been coming with the sex. It was a little, they had chemistry, but it wasn't like very graphic. Maybe the actress or the actor or both didn't want to, show that much of their body, which I said that back to the friend. And she was like, well, then they didn't need to be cast for Bridgerton. They know what it is. She was hot. Maybe in more ways than one. Maybe she was hot like Daphne's mama. I'm just saying. She wanted to see something. I'm leaving here seeing something. Last but not least, we need to talk about this Usher and Chris Brown foolishness that may or may not have happened. Allegedly, according to multiple websites. I saw it on Hollywood Unlocked and The Shade Room and TMZ. TMZ had footage of something. I don't know if it was necessarily a fight. But Chris Brown had a birthday at a skating rink and Usher hosted the birthday because Usher and Chris Brown have this beautiful bromance. The allegations, alleged story that no one has any real proof of is that Chris Brown disrespected Tiana Taylor at his own birthday party, called her a whole bunch of B words. Usher intervened on behalf of Tiana Taylor. They have a back and forth, which is what TMZ actually has video of. Usher is saying something to Chris Brown. And mind you, all these people are on skates. Usher says something to Chris Brown, seemingly trying to calm him down. And Chris Brown says like, fuck her, and then skates away. TMZ and Hollywood Unlocked and the Shade Room allege that a full-blown fight occurs in which Chris Brown's camp jumps Usher. It's insane. It's an insane story. But it's one of those stories that's so insane that you're like, it sounds too crazy to not be true, because who would make that shit up? But also, if Chris Brown and Usher got into a physical confrontation, like there was actually a fight, or where Chris Brown's people jumped Usher in the year of our Lord 2023 at a skate party in which they were not the only people in attendance, there would have to be video. There would have to be. Like there's video of this little back and forth of Chris Brown saying fuck her and skating off. There's no way there's no video of a full out fight of Usher being jumped. Also, this all takes place the day before, 2 days before, this big Friends and Lovers Friends Festival in Las Vegas, in which Chris Brown and Usher are both performing. Usher posted from Lovers and Friends, he posted a video, a close-up video so you could see his face. There's no way he got jumped. Like his face was fine. People were like, Usher's wearing makeup. He's got a filter on. I'm like, no, Usher didn't get jumped. Was there some sort of physical confrontation? Was there a shoving, a back and forth? Like, I don't know, maybe. But nobody got like hit in the jaw or stomped out or anything like that. Usher performed the next day. Like he was fine. There's a video of Teyana Taylor dancing while Chris Brown is performing. If somebody had just cursed me like clean the fuck out the day before, called me all sorts of bitches up in my face, I probably wouldn't be dancing to their music at a concert. This is my theory. I don't think there was a physical confrontation. I think there might have been a situation where Chris may have been overserved at his own birthday party. The birthday person, often many people are buying them drinks, buying them bottles. Maybe he consumed too much. And maybe he got a little rowdy or something. The people were like, oh, he's just drunk. Like, whatever. Usher and Teyana Taylor are both like pretty mature people. Chris Brown, working on it. I think it was Chris and Usher and Teyana were just like, here he go with this shit again. I don't know if you have somebody in your crew like that who just gets fired up or just does some extra shit. Like you'd be mad at them in the moment and you'd be like, I'm done hanging out with him. I'm done talking to her. I'm tired of this shit. Like she too old for this. We out here acting blah, blah, blah. She always doing some shit. And that's like Saturday night. And then like on Wednesday, you'd be like, what you doing after work? Maybe that's the situation. Or maybe somebody more grown than all of them intervened. Remember with Beyonce and Jay-Z and Solange in the elevator? And then the video came out and Solange was starting to pop off. She might have gone and deleted all her pictures with her sister on her Instagram page. Does this sound familiar? Like she was starting to pop off about Jay-Z and Beyonce. And then like it seemed Mama Tina intervened and was like, enough, we family. We not gonna be out here acting like this in the goddamn street. This isn't what we do. All Solange's pop off shit just automatically disappeared. And we never heard anything about it again from any of them other than in music. And Beyonce was like, a lot of shit go down when it's $1 billion in the elevator. I'm like, ma'am, if that's the excuse you'd like to use. I'd still like to know why your sister tried. I'd still like to know why your sister whooped your husband's ass. I would like to know. It's not my business, but I would like to know. But Mama Tina, it seemed, shut all that shit down and was like, absolutely, this is not how we act. We are a family. We can act up behind closed doors. We will not do this in public. Absolutely not. I feel like maybe there was something that happened with the three of them. Theory one is Usher and Teyana Taylor were just like, we too old for this shit. It's his birthday. He's drunk. We ain't paying him no mind. Or maybe some shit popped off. And not like an actual fight. Maybe Chris was just, doing Chris. And somebody stepped in and was like, hey, we not fighting in public. We not fighting in public. Whatever happens is behind closed doors. We're going to go to this concert tomorrow or this weekend and act like ain't shit happened. Because ain't shit happened, okay? Everybody's going to act like a respectable adult in public, including you, Chris. Thanks. You can see something happen. He yelled, fuck her for some reason. But I definitely don't think Usher got jumped. I heard the Lovers and Friends Festival was actually really good, which I expected it to be. It was a hell of a lineup. I've only seen clips of like the crazy shit. Like Summer Walker is on stage having a complete social anxiety moment. Or, because I think the caption was like, oh, she's having social anxiety. And then like if you watch the video, it seems like her boob is about to like pop out her top. And she's like fumbling with it heavy. And I was like, yeah, I would kind of focus on my boobie not popping out in front of tens of thousands of people versus belting out my lyrics. Okay. But in general, she's not known to be a great performer. There was also, I saw the Brat performed. She's very pregnant right now. She got the bright idea to do I don't think it was a cutout. I think it was just a clear, was it plastic? I don't know. But like where her baby bump was like clear. So you could see that she has like a gigantic baby bump. I guess she just wanted to show off her bump. It wasn't the best fashion choice, but the Brat is not really known for fashion choices. So I wish her a healthy and safe pregnancy. Also, her and her wife last week, they did an interview and they said that they used sperm from a sperm bank in order to impregnate the Brat so that they could have a baby. Okay. For whatever reason, they decided to share with people that it was white sperm because they were like, there's not a lot of black sperm available. And the one black guy was unattractive. And they were like, we're not giving our baby those traits. So we went with white sperm instead. So they've been highly criticized for that. And they were like, oh, black women obsessed with colorism. They just wanted a biracial baby and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think they just wanted a baby. To be quite honest, if it was me, if it was like an unattractive black dude, I don't know if I would go with white sperm. They didn't have no other of color sperm. There wasn't no like Latino sperm or Indian sperm because they're very brown people. Native American sperm, high cheekbone sperm. It was either you go with the ugly black guy or white people. There's no brown sperm available. This is one of those things I just don't care about. Maybe I should be having like a longer conversation about like colorism and black people fetishing biracial babies. I guess I could. I don't care. If we're being honest, completely honest, I'm more upset about that outfit than I am about her baby being half white. I just want you to have a healthy baby, sis. The baby's still gonna be black. Even if the baby real light, neither the Brat or her wife are that dark. Maybe the baby comes out looking like Mariah Carey. The baby's still gonna be black because she's being raised by two black women. The baby gonna be like Tracy Ellis Ross, that kind of black. I'm just not overly concerned about this one. I didn't see anything from the Usher performance yet. I guess I need to go look that up. Usher is always amazing. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Also haven't seen anything from the Chris Brown performance other than what I saw in the background of Tiana Taylor dancing during it. I saw Genuine fall off the stage. They were like, why did Grandpa try to jump like that? Jump and take like the sign language interpreter down with him. And apparently like fell and then kept singing and then got up like nothing was wrong. Like everyone didn't just see him jump and fall and bust his ass. But the comments were like, oh, Grandpa, oh, poor Genuine. Like, why would Grandpa even try that? And I was like, how old is Genuine? Because I for real thought Genuine, because of the way he's been dancing lately, and then also the way he jumped and fell, watching him as of late, I was like, oh, Genuine's got to be like in his mid-50s because he's like moving like a much older man. And then I remembered, I was like, yo, I had a friend who used to date him. And we were in college. This was like in his heyday. He was not married at the time. And he's from PG County, so he was always around. Like we were in the clubs at the same time. He's not like in his mid-50s. I had to go look it up. Genuine is 4 years older than me. I was like, is there some rapid deterioration that happens between 43 and 47? Because I feel like I can jump from things. Like I jumped up on a Jeep the other day when I was out on safari because I wanted to take photos. And then I jumped off the Jeep. I was fine. I mean, granted, it wasn't like jumping from a stage to a speaker, but like I was fine. I walked 7.5 miles. I was like, I feel like once I get accustomed to like walking up and down these steps like every day, like I'll be fine. Had I not walked 7.5 miles, I would have been fine. And again, like I'll readjust to like living in a city and walking all the time. That's just a matter of a couple weeks. I want to be able to still like move free at 47. Genuine seems to be in good health. I mean, just looking at him, he still has mobility, maybe not agility. Oh dear. I'm gonna go work out. As soon as I'm done with this podcast, I'm gonna go take another walk. Maybe not 7.5 miles. Maybe I'll do at least 3.5. I don't want to lose my agility. I still want to be able to jump if need be. Was there anybody else that I saw? I think those are Ari Lennox, who looked amazing. Has she always looked that amazing? I don't know. Whatever she's doing, she looked great. I didn't see any video of her performing. I just saw pictures of her. Like, sis was just browned and toned and moisturized. Like, she looked beautiful. In general, I don't have much FOMO about things that happen in the States, like every once in a while. Not seeing Usher in Vegas, this most recent reiteration, the show he's doing now is still in Vegas, but it's not the same version of the show that I saw before. I have FOMO about that. I had FOMO very much when I saw the lineup for Lovers and Friends because I knew I wouldn't be home to see it. That looked like a hell of a concert. At some point, I'm going to have to return to America, at least for, I don't know, summers. Maybe next year. We'll see. All right. Not everything, but it's what we've got. Oh, hold on. Between the time that I recorded the episode and the time I actually edited it, Jonathan Majors had his court date today. Nothing groundbreaking happened, so I'll save an update until Friday's episode. There's really not much to say. So that's not everything, but it's something. Be back on Friday. Bye.